Yo, what is up YouTube? I'm Blitz5, and in today's video I want to talk about the decline of Pokemon Go. So I was at work today and I saw an article pop up on Bloomberg News about the decline of Pokemon Go, and I figured it would be a perfect topic for today's video. So what is Bloomberg? If you haven't heard of it, it's basically like a media organization. They post a lot of news a lot of times. It's focused in finance, and that's the sector that I work in. That's my industry. The job that I have is in finance, and a lot of times I'm looking at companies and stocks and other interesting things like that. Won't go into detail about that. But anyways, I thought this was perfect for my page because I know about that, and also it's about video games. I have a lot of stuff about Pokemon, and I've been following Pokemon Go since its launch, so I definitely have a lot of information about that. All right, so let's get into it here. This is the Bloomberg article titled "These Charts Show That Pokemon Go is Already in Decline," and I'll leave the link in the description below so you guys can check it out for yourselves if you want to. There's this video that automatically plays and then jumps to the bottom here, which is pretty annoying, which I'm just going to pause and hopefully it doesn't play. And you guys can read through this article. Basically, they're just saying that they see a lot of trends here, that Pokemon Go is the user base and active users declining. I want to go through and explain all this stuff. And this is all sourced from, well, this is from Apptopia, but these other graphs are from Axiom Capital Management. And what I'm assuming Axiom Capital Management is, we could Google this, Capital Management, is probably a private equity company that's doing some analysis on Pokemon Go. I spelled that wrong, sorry. So Axiom Capital Management, private company. I'm pretty sure they're probably private equity, and I'll explain what that is in a second here. It provides security, brokerage service. Okay, no, so they provide brokerage service, which means that they advise people on buying stocks, etc., market information. A lot of these companies data mine for stuff like this and then give them to the clients and hope that people use them or view their website. They get click through, stuff like that. And if people use them, they get a fee for getting their advice on stocks. Anyway, so let's go through these charts. And this first one says Pokemon Go worldwide daily active users, which is a pretty interesting view, but this is pretty obvious, right? Pokemon Go was launched on July 5th. The game was crashed, so the graph is going to be shortened here because obviously it didn't excel as fast because it was crashed until about the 7th. I literally remember that exactly because I missed the first weekend because it was just so broken. I think I was on vacation. Then it spikes all the way up until July 13th, so first week. Then it kind of drops off, and then probably a lot of people that just didn't hop on the bandwagon finally decided to join in because they saw their friends were still playing, got another boost, and then it plateaued at around almost 45 million users. So this drew a lot of attention from all of like the news organizations, finance companies, all this stuff. Let's go to the Nintendo stock. Nintendo stock went up like 1,000,000,000%, jokingly, but it like went up so much when that happened. This is on July 19th, so let's go back. On July 19th, we hit like our plateau here, and that's when it reached its max. And then like overnight, I think when it launched on July 5th, it like skyrocketed up here. This was in like the first 2 days. Yeah, because it was the weekend. Stocks don't trade on the weekend. So obviously when I think it was like Monday came through, checking on my calendar, Monday was the 11th. Monday, the first day the stock exchange was open, it blew up to about $27 from $17, so that's a huge jump, and then it finally reached its peak at $37. But obviously, if you're any kind of gamer, you know that this is just like total hype train usage. In any game, its beginning usage is always a lot higher in the beginning, right? Like any game, people buy it, then they have players that don't like it, or people who aren't that into video games, aren't big into video games, will drop off. So like there's so many different things going on here, but basically the simplest answer is that obviously video game usage declines after the game is launched, unless it's like an MMO and then it might peak on later. So I mean, well, there's okay, so I take that back. There's two different strategies, right? You could have an MMO game like Pokemon Go where it could eventually hit its peak, but usually like a title like a Call of Duty title hits its peak when it's launched, right? So it's one or the other. And in this case, it's going down, but a lot of the people that played Pokemon Go weren't gamers to begin with. It's like people's girlfriends, everybody who didn't play Pokemon, older people, my boss, people at work were just downloading the game to see what it was and then playing it, and that counts as a daily active user. So obviously that's going to decline over time. And then right now, where we're at is obviously people like me who still play the game or sign on daily just to like pick up Pokestops and catch a couple Pokemon, are people who are actual gamers or actually enjoy Pokemon that are still going to be playing it. But they do have they are on to an interesting theory here, which I'll get to in a second, but let's get to another graph so we can show all this stuff. So this is Pokemon engagement. Now this is a really good graph. Usually I would knock some of these companies for putting some bogus graphs in here that don't mean anything, but engagement is super important, especially when you're playing in a video game, because that just shows like how long you're playing. Usually that's what engagement means, like how long you're playing the game for. And it obviously peaked when like it started, and now it's been declining, and then it looks like it went up here after like one of the updates. I guess I'm assuming this has probably happened here, and then now it's been declining again. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes on moving forward. Sorry for the train in the background, can't do much about that. And then let's see, I think this is one of the last charts. Yes, it is. This is Google Trends for virtual reality versus augmented reality, and basically they're just trying to show that, at least from an investing standpoint, that they don't think augmented reality really has like a space. They were trying to say in the article that, you know, virtual reality still has more interest and it's gonna last longer, and that the peak in augmented reality, the interest in augmented reality was when Pokemon Go came out, and now it's dropping again because it's down. And I think they do have a point here. I think more people are interested in virtual reality just because the ceiling is much higher, right? Like the possibilities with virtual reality are endless, when augmented reality only goes as far as like what your Pokemon Go is seeing through your camera. But I think Pokemon Go showed people that it's a lot easier and more practical than doing virtual reality, right? People always say virtual reality is going to be awesome if you can, you know, run around on this like omnidirectional treadmill, but that's not going to happen. People aren't going to buy those. People don't have the room in their house. Some people do, but not everybody. When everybody can go walk outside and use their iPhone and catch a Pokemon in their front lawn or in their apartment or whatever, right, through their phone. So this doesn't really have to do anything with the game, right? Pokemon Go's success isn't going to work, isn't built off the augmented reality. So this really has nothing to do with Pokemon Go. I think the story was just going to another section because I turned that function off so I can catch Pokemon easier, and that's not what made the game really cool. What made the game cool is that you can walk around and catch Pokemon in your neighborhood and stuff like that, and it gets you outside, which I think is pretty sweet. Overall, I think it's kind of obvious that Pokemon Go is going to be declining in usage and engagement because of how many people downloaded the app. And I think that some of these companies and people, investors, and all this stuff are looking at this from the completely wrong angle, right? They're looking at this like, oh wow, it's approaching the user base of Twitter, and it has more users than Tinder, which is an online dating site. But Tinder and Snapchat and Instagram, these things tend to last a lot longer. I mean, debatable, you could say like Snapchat might not be around forever because of Instagram, but these successful social media platforms like Tinder and all this stuff and Facebook are going to be around for a really long time. When games work in cycles, unless they're updated or become like super popular, like World of Warcraft is an outlier. Most games haven't lasted that long and that much success, right? So like, when this game hit 45 million users or whatever, it drew the attention of big investors. And let's go back to the stock here. People invested in Nintendo just because it was like a media stock. And this happens all the time, right? Turns out Nintendo only owns like a partial share in Niantic. So most of the people that bought this in the first place, like, Nintendo is benefiting from this, but barely. I mean, they're benefiting because it's making Pokemon popular, and that is definitely why the stock is still up to where it's at, because Pokemon's potential now and revenue and all this stuff is much higher. But all this stuff, the initial jump was kind of unwarranted and just totally shows that like it's totally because of the media and the hype train, and it would have been probably smart to short that stock or sell it at that point because you know it wasn't going to go any higher than that. I mean, it's always... hindsight is always 20/20, right? It's easier to say that now that it's happened, but it was pretty obvious. I think everybody in my office was like, yeah, that's not going to last very long, and I think everybody knew that, right? But where I think, you know, they're not focusing on in this article is stuff like I said, that Pokemon is now more popular. Like, I myself am now playing Pokemon, the trading card game, which I would have never been playing. I got my old Pokemon cards out. You know, kids are going to be more into Pokemon. It's definitely revitalizing the brand, which is awesome. And also, they do have a point. They're right in the way that Pokemon Go isn't doing a great job of keeping a lot of their players. And even me, I'm getting less and less interested to play, and I'm a hardcore gamer. So if I'm a hardcore gamer and I've played Pokemon growing up, and they're having a hard time keeping me as a customer to play Pokemon Go, then I can't imagine what other people are feeling right now as well. So the article and Bloomberg and a lot of these news sites and all these statistics do have a point, because it is dropping. And if I've been saying this in all of my videos, which you guys can check out, my Pokemon progress, like I said earlier in the video, I've been doing every week, that if they don't start making these big updates, that they're going to lose a huge user base. But what's easy is, because it's a mobile app, it's going to be really easy to hop back on and just join back into the game. And eventually they'll fix a lot of things, and I'm sure users will come back, but it is kind of in a weird spot. So it can definitely be mismanaged, and the app can crash, totally crash and burn, user base and all that stuff. But I think it's going to kind of plateau out. People will play occasionally, on the way to work like I do. And then hopefully these updates will come in and fix the game, and the Pokemon brand and everything like that will be solid. Nintendo can make some money. They're a good company. They deserve it. Niantic can make some money, most of the money, because they developed all this stuff, and we can go from there. So is Pokemon declining? Yes. Is it something to worry about? No. Is Pokemon Go a fluke? No. It just got overly hyped, and it just was like an outlier and kind of like a social event that happened across America, at least, and across the world, really. But as a video game, it's pretty normal. And yeah, I think that one last thing I want to mention is that a lot of times when stock companies and private equity companies who buy other companies see this, they're probably like, oh man, should we invest? Are we about to buy this company? So they got really into it, thinking like it's some big company or some big game where they had all this plan, but it was kind of random. So it's definitely a unique scenario. And a lot of times when you get finance people into this stuff, they try to understand it, and there's just nothing to really, you can't really quantify or calculate the viralness of society and how things work on the internet, right? So let me know if you guys have any questions. I would love to follow up on any of this stuff, maybe make some more videos like this, and I'll keep tracking Pokemon Go and showing my progress, and hopefully, like I said a million times in this video, that they fix this stuff and make the game a little bit better for everybody else. So anyways, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I'm Blitz5, and peace out.